because the children need us.
Yeah, hi again, it's Andy. It's the 3rd of May. It's 8 o'clock UK time, 3 o'clock in the Eastern time zone of the USA, and 12 noon Pacific Standard Time. We're doing a show tonight again with Arthur Rafferty. We've got many angles on this story of him being poisoned with asbestos and the Belfast NHS Trust trying to cover it up by saying he had it, he didn't have it, and then diagnosed properly with a Liverpool surgeon. We're also talking about the troubles of his dad, why his dad was shot, and we want to name and shame tonight. We did offer a right to reply, but Kieran Conway didn't come forward in the end. He wrote a book about Mr. Rafferty's shooting, and it sounded good that he was backing up the situation that Arthur Rafferty here tonight has been talking about. But unfortunately, because he never come forward, we now believe, it wasn't as good as we thought. But also, he never even asked Arthur Rafferty Jr. for any comment so we can, confirm what's going on in this book. So we're talking about that. We're talking about asbestos. We're talking about people joining forces and getting into some kind of group on the internet, by phone, meeting up in Belfast, or even at the rally. I'm hoping we can get as many asbestosis sufferers around the UK, Great Britain and Ireland and Southern Ireland to come through to Inverness in the Highlands. There's direct flights from Belfast, from Dublin, from all parts of the UK, London, Bristol, you name it. That just so happens I live here. And for EasyJet, it's about 60 quid return, maybe 80 if it's July. But we're doing a rally on the 1st of July at Booked Park in Inverness. It's the biggest park there is. And we're going to have hopefully a speaker, Arthur Rafferty. If anybody wants to join that rally, there's a Facebook group on that, an event, or just email us on andrewpeacher2013@gmail.com or Freedom Talk Radio 2013@gmail.com. Okay, Arthur, we're back again for a very interesting show again. I thought I'd name and shame Mr. Conway because I've always wondered if you can change sides when, he was a senior intelligence officer for the Republicans. He wrote a book, and now he's a barrister to defend people. I always wonder, if you can change sides or change your attitude. I mean, let's face it, a drug addict, he may not go back to doing heroin and hard drugs, but if he smokes, if he has alcohol, if he pops a pill here and there, that's still being, in a way, an addict. So I don't think you can change sides, and that's what makes me name and shame Kieran Conway and his book.
Thanks very much, Andy. As I'm saying, when you mentioned it to me before, I phoned the man and I explained who I was and what was it all about, and I said I would love to speak to him about Scapitici. But once I mentioned his name, I think that put the man off. But again, if he wants to speak to me any time at all, or any place, I speak to him. But I know really that Sinn Féin ARA would not allow him.
And he claims he has nothing to do with them now. But yeah, I'm sure the gentleman's got his reasons or got his pressures. But it's just a shame that I didn't do this a different way around and had him on the show without telling you. And then he would have come on the show, said his piece, and then you could have then, told us the other version. But not to worry. We're still thinking about your dad, Arthur Rafferty Sr. He was shot dead in 1974. It was the IRA. It's been all over the press. We believe it was Scapitici, and Scapitici himself has recently been arrested for abuse images of animals, and he faces this inquiry, and if the inquiry thinks he's guilty, obviously he'll be in jail for the rest of his life. But the Bedfordshire Police chief at the moment leaves in July. he seems to want to ignore your statement as well, don't he? So we have a problem with that, and we have a problem with the Belfast Trust.
That's right, Andy.
Yeah, so let's go back onto asbestosis then, because
Well, I would like to tell the public about the people I met over Belfast over this past week. They have asked me to form committees here in Belfast to raise this matter as to why these doctors were allowed to tell lies about their husbands and their sons and get away with it.
Yeah, and we need any people to either call you directly or go onto YouTube channel, leave a message on After YouTube, or just get in touch with Freedom Talk Radio 2013 at gmail.com. There is a number if you're in America or the rest of the world and you've got access to an American landline number. You can actually call in on 657 383 1512. That's any night that the shows are on, but in particular on a Friday evening at 8 p.m., 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon Pacific. It's 657 383 1512. With UK and Ireland telecom services, you can get through to that and it won't cost you a penny. If you have to pay for it, I believe for a 30-minute chat, it's about £2 English or Irish pounds or euros even, probably €2.50 for 30 minutes of joining the call. There will be a UK landline in the future, but I keep having it and nobody uses it, so I keep getting rid of it. So that'll be good. Yeah, please email us because we want people with asbestosis, to come forward and name and shame these doctors and clinics and hospitals that have ignored the problem. I mentioned before in a previous case, 25, no, was it 25? No. About 17 years ago, I think it was now, we lost a brother-in-law to asbestosis. They blamed it on cigarettes. And that's exactly what they're doing in Belfast and some places in the world. You know, they're, especially Dr. Kidney, I think it's Joe Kidney, that wanted people to believe that, you know, it's not asbestosis causing the problem, it's CPD or smoking or other forms of lung problems. I mean, I was reading just now from the Cancer Research Group, and asbestosis, well, they go on saying it's a serious long-term lung condition caused by prolonged exposure to asbestos. Asbestos is a whitish material that was used in buildings for insulation, flooring and roofing in the past, but is no longer used now. We'll come on to that in a minute. While asbestosis can be dangerous, it says here, sorry, this is from the NHS, this part, it doesn't present a health risk if left undisturbed. Well, that's wrong as well, I think. But then the cancer research people are saying you can actually get cancer from asbestosis with one single visit. In other words, if you breathe it in once, that's it. The NHS make you believe it takes several times or over a number of years. That is, I believe, the research, because, you know, the research people are more better than any doctor in the world. I also believe that the buildings, even though, yeah, if you leave it alone, I mean, let's say tiling on the roof, because some of that's made of that dusty asbestosis in some of the older buildings. To me, they're plastic or foam tiles, but they're a danger. Yes, if you leave them there, they may not cause a big problem, but they actually, you've only got to have, I've read about it, you only have to have other dust in that building that goes up to the roof and brings some of that dust back down again. So when you go in there and breathe, even though the tiles are still fitted, and we're talking in schools, we're talking in factories, we're talking in dockyards, even today, and maybe on some of the boats or the houses that were built recently in the last 20 years, Because if I remember rightly, people are using old asbestosis in modern day building. Sorry, asbestos in modern day building. I'm not saying, they're trying to kill people. What I'm saying is they're using it with other things and mixing it and reusing it. I'll have to look up that article. And recently, a few people from the country in UK and Ireland have actually been awarded money because they wash their husband's clothing. Now, we need to hear from all of you, don't we, Arthur?
Yes, surely. Andy, for the Belfast Trust to even say that is the most stupidest statement I have ever heard. I've spoke to a specialist in Liverpool, not the fellow who done my case, but a man over him again. And he says that even one speck of dust gets into your lungs, that'll lie there dormant for 30, 40, 50 years before it starts, and then it'll spread all over the place. And for them to say that, it shows you how much they know about asbestosis. Them under doctors. Well, Andy, as I was saying, since my last show, many people have asked me for help to bring those doctors and medical people and also the court services to answer for what they have done to me and to many hundreds of other innocent members of the public who were refused proper treatment by these so-called doctors. Many doctors have died without getting a proper diagnosis of their sickness by those corrupt doctors, and have went to their deaths and got no compensation at all after working for many years along with me unloading asbestos from the ships at the Belfast docks. And their families got nothing from that corrupt British government who colluded with those corrupt doctors calling themselves asbestos specialists. They come from all the main hospitals here in Belfast, and there's not one, according to the specialist I was speaking to in England. He said there's no asbestos specialist in Northern Ireland at all. Also, the large insurance companies who worked hand in hand with the court services and the legal system to make sure that many innocent doctors and some members of their families who contracted asbestosis from washing their clothes got no compensation at all. But of course, they were well paid for their dirty work. Also, our corrupt union done nothing to help those pure innocent people who were never told about the dangers that this cargo of asbestos would do to their health and to their families. These corrupt people deserve to be named and shamed through the courts on a charge of mass murder of innocent doctors who were never told about the dangers of that cargo and who received no protection at all, not even as much as a paper mask. While those doctors, the legal system, the court system, the insurance agents, factory inspectors, they were employed by the government at the docks to tell dockers about dangerous cargoes. Well, I worked there for 30 years, and I never seen one of these factory inspectors. They never came near us. Of course, they may have came to our union and told our union about the dangers of it, but our union, they can take my word for it, never came to tell the pure docker. They were sent to their deaths by their own union. The British government, they all knew about the deadly danger of working with asbestos, but never thought about telling the pure innocent docker, leading them to certain deaths, and also bringing that deadly dust into their homes after their work, where members of their families would also be at risk of contracting asbestosis. But of course, many of us dockers were Catholics, and Catholics were expendable in the eyes of that corrupt British government. Now, I have advised many of those people I have spoke to come forward to me and give me all their details. And as I think their family members who have died working with asbestos should be entitled to compensation from all those corrupt people that I have mentioned below. These people were guilty of corporal manslaughter of their loved ones who were forced to work in atrocious conditions. And not only did those brave doctors die working with the deadly cargo of asbestos, but the doctors had to fight those corrupt doctors in our hospitals here in the north of Ireland to be diagnosed as suffering from asbestosis, and many of them were turned down by these doctors on the advice of their bosses in the Belfast Trust and the British government. And those doctors died getting no compensation at all. These corrupt doctors and the trust tried to do the same with me, but I fought them for 11 hard, long years and won my case. And many of my fellow doctors died and got not one penny from these scum. But of course, they were working hand in hand with the large insurance companies and the British government so that us doctors would get no compensation at all. Now, I will be advising these families to take a legal case against these people, but not here in this court system here in the north of Ireland, as they are corrupt. I will have to take their names and details, and I will send those to the European Courts of Human Rights. Now, I hope you don't mind. I've mentioned your name on your Freedom Talk Radio. I will be asking my friend Andy Peacher of the Freedom Talk Radio to help me expose these low-life scum who have went out of their way to make sure that terminally ill doctors who have worked hard all their lives to rear their families here in the north of Ireland and now they are dying with asbestosis get no compensation. And I wonder how these doctors, the like of the Mother Hospital, the City Hospital, the Antrim Area Hospital, the Royal Victoria Hospital, doctors that are getting paid big money can go to their beds at night and sleep, knowing that there's hundreds of men walking about here in Northern Ireland with the deadly disease of asbestosis, and no one has told them about it. I think it's scandalous, Andy, and I would like something done about these doctors.
I mean, absolutely. No, I'll just read a few bits out here so you can have a couple of minutes off. I don't know if this is applicable to Northern Ireland because, like we were saying on many shows, why do you want to split up countries when you don't even belong to the same land? But anyway, Ireland, Northern Ireland, which is over there but still a part of over here, which is even in itself is confusing. They have a compensation scheme in the mainland of Great Britain, then we'll call it the mainland over here. And the compensation scheme at the moment, I believe you can get up to you can get £123,000. Now, if you got any money from the 2008 scheme, that's deducted from the £123,000. I believe it was a lot less. This only came into force in 15-16. And I mean, that's a lot of money. It also says if you're exposed to asbestos in the environment, for instance, you live near the factory using asbestosis, or you're self-employed, or you're a relative, for instance, you wash their clothes, you can have money under the diffuse mesothelioma payment scheme. But I think you've got to be diagnosed with, well, they're contradicting themselves there, because one minute they're saying you can have it, next thing they're saying you got to be diagnosed with it. But how can you be diagnosed if the doctors don't know what they're doing? That's a problem. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Depending on your age, I mean, the younger you were, the more money you're going to get. So that's our scheme. I'm pretty certain they may be similar, but you know, I do believe that one way of crippling our government And sorry for the, it's not a joke, it's serious actually. You get nowhere with bombing people and murdering them or shooting them or whatever, or even bullying them. But what you do get pleasure from, and you do win, is when you expose them for what they're doing. But you need mass numbers. Now I can do my best, and I've been doing my best every day as much as I can, and I'm just getting the same old thing. Talk to Nicola, talk to Nicola, talk to Nicola. And you know who Nicola is from the Belfast Trust. But Nicola is the one you don't want to talk to. And that makes it all mad, you know. Every professional I've emailed or spoken to, talk to Nicola or Nikki from the Belfast NHS Trust. And some of them said, the one today, I passed it on to your email, Mr. Rafferty knows who to contact and how to resolve the problem. He just won't call Nikki. I mean, we've had this conversation on air last week. Maybe she is the name, but maybe she doesn't want to deal with you. I don't know.
Well, Andy, the person you're speaking about is Nikki Vincent. I went to a meeting at 1st of June 2010. At the meeting was a Dr. Colin Harper, Dr. Tony Stevens, Medical Director of the Belfast Health and Social Care Trust, Dr. Joe Kidney, Consultant Physician, Mater Hospital, and Nikki Vincent, Governance and Quality Manager. Now, I spoke to her at the meeting, and I asked her 5, 6, maybe 7 times, where was Joe Kidney, but he was late coming in. He was about a half an hour late. I wanted to ask him a question as how he diagnosed me in 2001, and I was attending his hospital, the Mater Hospital, for almost 6.5 years, regularly, about every month. They took my blood test, they checked my breathing, and so on, but never gave me any treatment because there's no treatment for it. Then when it came time to go to court, they sent me to another doctor in the city hospital who looked at me sitting at the far side of the table, didn't put a finger on me, yet he was able to say that I don't have asbestosis. I think he must have had a crystal ball somewhere, but where he got his facts from is beyond me. But his word overruled Joe Kidney. And that's the people you're talking about. And as for the Belfast Trust, I don't think they know. They wouldn't know how to spell asbestosis after them.
It's actually quite easy, really. Asbestos with IS on the end, I think. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny you say that. That was. Yeah.
These people I was talking to all week on, they're very annoyed, but they were surprised that I was put through all that trouble. They couldn't believe that these people done that to me. After all, you're supposed to have respect for a doctor. I was always taught that anyway. But there again, I have no respect for them at all, Andy, now, after what I've been through by these so-called specialists in the 4 main hospitals here in Belfast. They told lie after lie after lie. And so I pity other doctors who before me have went to these same doctors. The same doctors have told them the same thing. No, you haven't got asbestosis. You're okay. You're a fit man. Away you go. And these doctors are walking about the town, as I called them then, the walking dead. And they didn't know they were dying. Yet these doctors are able to put that away at the back of their head and just think nothing about that and get their wages. Because every time they see a person, they're £600 to £800 out of the taxpayers' money.
You've given me
how they get away with it is beyond me.
Yeah, you've given me an idea now. It's just that I've met a good person today or yesterday. I was talking to you earlier. I don't know if I mentioned it on air, but they are with the Northern Ireland Healthcare Trusts, but they're not with Belfast. Now, they're adamant, you talk to Nikki Vincent, but I'm also thinking I've got a good a good email from NHS England. Now, if we can kind of put the two, because they're similar organisations, they're both not the Belfast Trust, forget about them for now, but the person in NHS England and this person in Belfast, Northern Ireland NHS senior managers. They're both very similar levels. If we could get them two to speak and maybe speak on a three-way call, I'd be there listening in with you and them two from NHS England and NHS Northern Ireland. That may break this Belfast Trust game of, it's not our fault. But I had a dream last night, and I always have a dream before your show because I'm either shit scared what's going to happen, or I come up with some good ideas. Last night it was a good idea, and I'm thinking. So anyway, this dream, I was actually in the house, peeking out that window when your dad was shot. I didn't want to be in that house because it's an RRA house, but anyway. Your dad was shot, went to hospital. You were there for a long time, as we know. Then you told me about the asbestosis. But at the time, Nikki Vincent, by the way, was a nurse there. And she was very, I call her Nikki in my head because I didn't know her second name. She was very good at the time. She wanted to help you as much as you can about your dad shooting and all that. That's it, not the asbestosis. And now she's obviously one of the other people now in the trust that you didn't get on with. I got this feeling, and it's only a small one, but I got a feeling that if we spoke to that Nikki Vincent again, even on a three-way call, I think would get far. Because you're not an aggressive person like a lot of people. You just say to people, look, you witnessed Dr. A, B, and C saying this, that, and the other 6 years ago, or whatever it was. Why did you let that happen? Why didn't you come back to me? Have I done anything wrong to you personally? Have I done anything wrong to the trust? If so, let me know what I've done wrong, so you can remedy that. But sometimes, people, and this is not about you personally, some people get stuck in a rut and they don't realise there is hope. I know in political circles and religious circles, you can go up against a brick wall, but I don't know. I've got this feeling she may come through. Let's see.
Andy, I'd speak to her any time at all because there's none of them people that I would fear because they know me. I know them of old, and if the trouble they have put me through, there's not one of them I would fear. And she knows if I speak to her, I tell her how I feel about her doctors. But there again, she's a long time working for the Belfast Trust. She's been there, at that meeting of mine was 9 years ago. And
she's been there 11 years and 7 months.
Yeah, a long time. And there again, it's like an old boys club. It's like the politicians here, they stick by each other. And they're not gonna go out of their way to help me. Why should they? After all, I've been abusing them for years. I'm not finished with them yet.
Well, we're going to carry on another 15 minutes of the show because we haven't got far on what we was going to speak about. We'll carry on. It'll all be on YouTube, on Alpha Rafferty's channel or Freedom Talk Radio YouTube channel, even on freedomtalkradio.co.uk front page, as it always is from this channel, on YouTube, on iTunes, and all the podcasts you can think of, Podbean, Mixcloud, the lot really. So, so I challenge you then, and I challenge Nikki Vincent from the Belfast Trust. Have a speak with Arthur, have a speak with Nikki. Let me be on the line. Let me arrange the call between the three of us. I say nothing, only the politeness. Would you take part in that conversation? And it doesn't matter, Arthur, if you've got some ghosts to hide. It doesn't matter, Nikki, if you've made mistakes. But we need to move this forward on the asbestos side anyway. And, I'm not sure how we go on with your dad's situation. Like I've always said, this is the easy one to crack. The murder of your dad is more severely political.
Well, that's what I'm saying, Andy. You want to arrange that meeting, by all means, you do it. But the only one that has to hate anything in this case are the Belfast Trust. After all, they diagnosed me, and then they misdiagnosed me. And the other two, they specialists they sent me to, they were supposed to cure me. And they told lies on me too, but they didn't even put their hands near me. So how can they talk to me after what they've done to me, you know?
Yeah, just name the doctors again. I know you've named them before, but
Dr.
I want
Kidney.
Joe Kidney. I want Nikki to know that we're not out to make a fool of anyone, but we're out for justice, and we're out to talk and dialogue. We're out to prove, there was mistakes made, and if there wasn't, can Nikki prove there wasn't? And make us understand. Maybe you're getting too old and you go nuts. I don't know. But joking aside, is there any other doctors that Nikki sort of didn't? They should stand up for the patient most of the time. Not the doctors that have failed.
I have a sheet here in front of me. Corrupt doctors, solicitors, and lawyers who colluded with each other in my case. The doctors are Dr. Joe Kidney, chest consultant of the Mother Hospital, 2001. Dr. John McLaughlin, radiologist, Mother Hospital, January 2001. Dr. Richard Shepherd, City Hospital. Dr. John Lawson, radiologist, City Hospital. Dr. Victor Bondari, radiologist, City Hospital. Dr. Wendy Onson, chest consultant, Antrim Area Hospital. And the three solicitors who I sacked in court, Michael Hollywood, Charlie Hill, and Peter Dorn. And I also went to government agencies in the last month or so of that year. Monica McWilliams, at the time she was the Human Rights Commissioner. Mr. Muir, Equality Commission. The Law Society of Northern Ireland. The Bar Council of Northern Ireland. Bertha McDougall, Victims Commissioner, CAJ, and Asa McCormick. I seen all them people. I've spoke to all them people. And the way they were speaking, none of them wanted to do anything about it. That's the position that I was in, Joe. Or Andy.
Andy, yeah, you called me Joe on every show so far.
No.
Obviously, Mr. Kidney, really again.
On my mind.
Yeah, he's always on your mind because
he's always on my mind. What he done, I'll never forgive him for it, And as I'm saying on the last show, Joe and me got on very, very, very well for 6.5 years. He phoned me so all the time during the day and night to see how I was keeping. But there again, whatever happened, the whole lot turned toward me. And then not only me, how many other people have they done it on? And the people haven't got the courage to stand up and tackle these people.
So Joe originally, Mr. Kidney, was on your side, yeah?
He was. He
with
diagnosed
problems,
me.
yeah.
And he treated me.
It was the other doctors that then said no. I mean, effectively, they're saying, look, Joe Kidney's wrong, and this is the real diagnosis.
Yes,
in a way.
Andy, these other doctors never laid a finger on me, never done any examinations, never took any scans. So how in the name of God can they overrule Joe Kidney's diagnosis? He done everything for about 6 hours with me.
So
these people didn't.
He's obviously been told to agree with the majority and leaned on him, and that's fair enough. And I know I've been on the show recently, said that Joe Kidney and he's trying to get links between COPD and other lung infections rather than asbestosis. It's only from what I've read. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Kidney. I'm not here to get you. I'm here to get justice for the Arthur Rafferty Foundation and Arthur Rafferty. And the million supporters of Arthur Rafferty will pursue this until we get an answer.
You see, the boss there, I'm saying, Andy, is this fella, Tony Stevens. He was the medical director. he told them people what to do and what not to do. He tried to tell me the same thing, but I didn't agree with him. And I told him that face to face, not once, but a half a dozen times. Because what these doctors done to me, they have to stand up themselves and admit that they were wrong. And how many, if they do that, how many other person like me have they done it to? And the people haven't stood up for them, and they're walking about now with bad chests, coughs, spitting up blood, not knowing what's wrong with them. But I hope by me coming here and publicising these, that they will go back to their doctors, if possible, and get a proper checkup.
From the neck up sometimes, eh?
Yeah.
And that's just a joke. Check up from the neck up. But I think the doctors need to check up from the neck up. But there are some good doctors around. You know, I'm not saying that every doctor's bad, but there's a lot of doctors in general terms now, especially when you look at a patient's notes and this patient has been, let's say he or she's moved around a lot. They've been to 20 different doctors. Probably 17 of them agreed on one thing and 3 of them decided it was not that at all. Now, they put it straight into their minds, you know, the 17 doctors must be correct and the 3 doctors got it wrong, as well as the patient. Because obviously the patient believes it's the 3 doctors were right, not the 17. But it happens with the NHS. They go with the majority of views. You know, they're not bothered about the poor 3 doctors that actually may be right and the 17 that are not right. You know, they go with the majority, and this is what Belfast, I think, is doing. And I think Nicky Vincent is, you know, of course I don't know. I've not found anything bad about her on the internet. You know, there's been nothing out there to make me believe this, but I think she is doing her job to her ability, but based on can't upset the boss of the trust or the shareholders and stakeholders. You know, maybe does Tony Stevens still work there as medical director, or has he got a different role now?
I don't know where he is at all now. I haven't heard from him. But Joe, what annoys me is how is it that I flew to Liverpool, spent a day over there, seen a proper doctor who done all the same tests as Dr. Joe Kidney done, because the other two doctors didn't do any tests at all. So they had Joe Kidney's papers just with them, and they read through his papers. His paper says I had asbestosis, so why did they change their mind? That's what I want to know. Get that doctor over in England, not a problem, done the same tests, worked all of them out, looked all the scans, told me straight away, yeah, you have asbestosis. That's the difference in them. But Joe Kidney diagnosed me with his papers, and these doctors, when I went down to see them in the city and the Anti-Mary Hospital, had all Joe Kidney's papers in front of them, and they took their diagnosis from Joe Kidney's papers. So where did the asbestosis go? And I've asked them that question a half a dozen times, and no one, even including Nicky, she didn't answer the same question. I said, how could Joe Kidney diagnose me, have it in writing, have it in all his forms? Yet Dr. Shepherd took Joe Kidney's papers, and Dr. Anderson took Joe Kidney's papers and changed their minds.
Have you still got them papers, yeah?
I still have them here in front of me, yeah.
Brilliant. When we go forward on this, you may have to get me a copy by email. Sure. One of your friends will, one of our million supporters will do that. Dr. Stevens, did you say Tony Stevens, yeah?
Tony Stevens. He's a director.
He now works as the Chief Executive for Northern Health and Social Care Trusts.
Oh my, that means he's in charge of the hospitals in the north of Ireland.
That's basically it, yeah.
Imagine putting him in charge of anything. The man wouldn't know the truth if it fell on top of him. And I told him at his face. He didn't like it. Because what annoys me, Andy, is Joe Kidney's papers for 6.5 years diagnosed me with asbestosis, Yet these two other so-called asbestos specialists, Anderson and Shepard, read Joe Kidney's papers and changed their mind, and also changed his mind. How can doctors do that? That's wrong.
I mean, if anything, they're calling their own doctor wrong, and that's not normally. They normally don't do that.
You think doctors all back each other up, but they overruled Joe Kidney's thing. And I spent 6 hours with them in the Mother Hospital doing all them tests. Yet they didn't spend any time with me at all. Didn't do one test. Them two other doctors. Yet they're able to sway him, tell him what to do. I don't know. It doesn't sound
one
right.
of them. It's one of them, and I think we should go for the first meeting on the telephone with Nicky Vincent, and then we should try and get Tony Stevens on a second call. We'll start over here. Sorry, I'm in Scotland. You're in Ireland. We don't have bank holiday Monday this Monday, but in England they have a bank holiday Monday, so things might be a little bit slow until Tuesday. But let's do that. We've only got 3 minutes left on this section. Let's do that. Let's try and talk to Tony Stevens and Nicky Vincent. We'll try and do it together first, but if not, we'll do it separately. And failing that, we'll go to the next person down. I'm convinced and I'm determined, if I can help a dad in Northern Ireland, if I can help several people in mental health institutions break free from their captors, because that's what it was. The NHS decided they were jailers, and really, in mental health terms, you couldn't have done anything worse to a dad in Belfast or people that I know in England and Wales. To diagnose people with medical conditions they don't have, and then keep them locked up in solitary confinement for ages and ages. And the only good thing about the Belfast case, they let him go on day release, and he went on day release. He never went back, and they never bothered, going to the police, because they know full well this guy is as sane as any other man, and he's listening tonight. Our little friend PC, I call him, and do you know what? He's done so well for himself, but he's still hiding like a fugitive, just in case they come and get him. He's having to work hard, claim no benefits, claim no doctors, can't be ill. I mean, what a ridiculous Northern Ireland situation we have. Anyway, it's the end of the show, and last comments, Arthur, before we get cut off.
Well, on the other saying, they won't have to run after me, because I live here and I was born and reared here, and I run from nobody. They want to ask me questions, I'll be there to answer them.
Absolutely, and if anybody wants to talk to Arthur, or you're an asbestosis victim, family member, you want to come to the July the 1st Inverness, Scotland rally, peaceful